Welcome to the American Institute of Healthcare Professionals Videogram on Decisions When You're Gone, the importance of a will and medical directives. And in lieu of Dr. Dominic Fleury, one of the course instructors in our Pastoral Thanatology program, my name is Mark Moran. I am the Assistant Executive Director. I also do teach a few of the Pastoral Thanatology courses, as well as Dr. Moon. What we want to talk about today is something that's very important and something that is sometimes neglected by individuals because of fear of death itself, and that's a will, also a living will, and what we refer to as a power of attorney. And again, the fear of death equals unprepared. When individuals are not prepared for what can happen after a death, then chaos can ensue within the family. Wishes are not met the way that an individual might have hoped things to be. So it's important then to avoid future misrepresentation and chaos by having a last will and testament, by having a living will itself, and what we refer to as a power of attorney. So we are going to review these three documents and their importance within this video itself. The last will and testament is a legal form that designates an executor to carry out the final wishes regarding an individual, the deceased's funeral, burial, debt, final wishes, and anything that deals with inheritance itself. The executor of the will is the one who will designate where particular things go, making sure that these wishes are carried out. And the beneficiaries of the particular will are the ones who will receive a certain inheritance or a certain object or whatever the individual who is deceased wished to have handed down. It's extremely important, especially for individuals over 18, to have a will because when individuals pass away, we mentioned again that there can be misinterpretation of one's final wishes. There can be issues that involve chaos with descendants and how they respond with each other and maybe argue with each other, as well as protection against the state, maybe from taking particular things. So those who are married, especially individuals with children, it's very important to have a will, a final living testament. And this can be done easily through an attorney or an official document. Can be signed by a notary of the public with one witness itself to be binding. If you're looking for a particular type of will, you can very easily go online and find various official forms to print out to utilize if you want to use a notary, or you can, again, go directly to the attorney. A living will is a little bit different than the final will and testament. A living will looks into the distinct possibility of an individual becoming incapacitated a brief period of time, or maybe in a coma, long-term or permanent coma. So to the point where an individual is unconscious or unable to perform day-to-day duties. And it's important to have individuals know beforehand what your wishes are to have done while you're incapacitated or incompetent to the point where you do not know what's going on, or God forbid, in a coma type situation that you may never wake up. So by having your guidelines already laid out on a binding legal document, you can control many aspects that you would not be able to control because you're not conscious, such as medical pain management, such as also ordinary and extraordinary means of life. And these are very important because some individuals might have a wish that if feeding tubes are to be utilized or ventilators, these things are not to be used to keep me alive if I cannot live on my own in a good and healthy, beneficial way. So it's important to let individuals know what your wishes would be if you were on a feeding tube or a ventilator and there was no hope of recovery, that you would not wish to have these extraordinary means. Or you might have a wish to be kept alive at all costs. You might also have a no resuscitation. You might have a no resuscitation rule where if you do go, you won't want to be brought back. Or very well, you might want to be brought back. No one is going to know unless these things are laid out, unless the guidelines are laid out. Organ donation is another one that is listed that is also important for individuals to know. If you do pass away, what would you like to have done with your organs? So a living will is very important in the situation, an unlucky case that you do become incapacitated. It could be utilized temporary, or if God forbid, again, you're in a permanent coma and a situation requires a decision which you wish you could be part of, but due to your unconscious state are not able to partake in. And this is why individuals also have what we refer to as a power of attorney. This gives power to a trusted individual to take over one's dealings. And this can be very universal, or it can be limited. By universal, I mean it allows the individual to pay for individuals' bills by using access to one's checking account or any other types of finances. But for the most part, it is usually just limited to medical decisions that are in accordance with the living will, or that exist in the absence of a living will. So an individual knows what your wishes would be in itself. And these living wills can have a time limit, or they can also be unlimited. So it's a very important thing to think about. Who is, number one, younger than you? You don't want to make someone a power of attorney necessarily that's much older than you, because then you have to go back and change things. And that's one of the natures of these documents. If individuals pass away, then you need to update them. And you have to be very prompt on that, because life changes very quickly and in an instant itself. This is our Pastoral Thanatology certification program, and our link below will take you to our program. Our phone number is 330-652-7776, and our email is info@AIHCP.org. You can click on any of those links. As part of the Pastoral Thanatology certification program, this video was very important, short but important, in just illustrating in a little bit more detail what these three documents are and why you need to be aware of them, not only as a certified individual in pastoral thanatology, but also as just an individual who exists in this world and needs probably to have some type of living will, as well as a final will and testament, or a power of attorney, so that when things do go wrong, or when you eventually do pass away, you're able to have the information you want people to know in regards to your care and in regards to your possessions and how they are to be distributed when you are gone. So don't allow death or talk of death to scare you from these important discussions themselves. Thank you and have a good day.